a victim never show. Mysteries rise and truth unfolding. Ready, set, it's time to go. We say it's time to go. Whispering truth, battering news, mixing stories, solving the lies. In this kitchen, secrets are broken. With a spark in our eyes. In the broken baker's kitchen, the secrets crumble, lies don't rise. We'll sift through clues to find the news. With a spark in our eyes, the broken arrive. Broken rise. Welcome to the broken baker. Get ready. Let's go.
I'm Jimmy. How y'all doing?
The most important people in this case that everybody seems to have forgotten in this room is the jury. So we're going to take a 15-minute break and both sides take a pregnant pause and think about
Yes, let's take a pregnant pause. I went into StreamYard, put it up on big screen, and just cut it, and then put it into Canva
Oh.
and put it together.
That's kind of how I was thinking I was going to do it, but I was wondering if that was a roundabout, dumb way and there was a smarter way.
Well, it might be, but that's the way I do it.
Well, no, that's a good idea because I know how to do that in theory.
Yeah, just slip the audio down, and then you can match it up, and you can use all those free clips they have.
Ooh, cool beans.
Thank you so much, Brokenhearted. Yes, we talked about this when we went off screen about we try to make it enjoyable to watch trials with us, even though some people, we have 69 viewers right now. Giggity, giggity, giggity.
Giggity.
But yes, we might say something stupid now and again, but we feel that's probably okay for most people because it is horrible cases we cover most of the times. And
Yeah.
thank all of you for being respectful to this case as well. That we didn't have to turn the car around because Mama Mo and Papa Baker was ready to turn it around and say no. But you have all been very respectful, at least the ones of you who can still be here. And we didn't have to stop too much and talk about anything else than the trial. And it's a 3-day. After yesterday, I feel this trial has lasted longer than the Karen Reed case. It really broke me yesterday.
Yesterday was hard, and
Yeah.
it's really odd that the things that were hard for each of us, because I think the video was hard for both of us, and I was better during the medical examiner because I could kind of go back to just medical brain and analytics. But this is just going to flat out suck to hear the
Yeah.
mom and dad speak. And it's not the easiest thing to do. It doesn't, it's not the thing that we want to cover all the time. And welcome, Shalom D, a member of the Church of Mo. Thank you for renewing. Because sometimes it doesn't tell us if you renew or you're a new member. So, but thank you so much. It is a necessary part of the trial in America, but this is definitely going to be hard. And I think it's harder maybe for us because we can both personalize this situation. You have young adult daughters. I have a daughter that's getting ready to go to college. And I'm not saying I didn't look at nunneries last night.
No, I tried to do that with my daughter, and then she gave me a grandson, and then I forgave her. The idiot that lives with her, I still don't like him.
Well, I mean, until he puts a ring on her finger, he's still an idiot because she just gave him a a cute little cutie patootie squishy cheek little baby.
It won't help. I still don't like him.
Well, you know.
That's a dad's role in life. I think. Hate the one who took your little baby girl away. But
I think my
no,
dad said, "I'll give you a boat too if you take her off our hands." So, you know.
no, but I don't. It just got so hard yesterday watching it, and then I woke up early this morning because I had my morning show, and I woke up at 4 and didn't have to get out of bed till 4:40. I was just lying there thinking about it because it was just you couldn't have made a Hollywood movie with a more perfect video to signify the what this case is about. She just turned the wrong corner, and 3 minutes later,
Yeah. And so, on a maybe more constructive and something that we can all do, maybe today, if you've been carrying a grudge as a full-time manager of a grudgery, maybe there's a family member you haven't talked to. Maybe there's, one of your children who's at that fun stage where it's hard to love. Give them a hug today. Reach out to someone that maybe you haven't talked to in a while. Make sure they're okay. We lose a lot with our digital world where we can just text people. Reach out to people
yeah,
is because you never know when they're going to take that left turn. And I gifted 5 memberships, Tammy. I tried to get you, but and then thank you, Shalom D, for gifting memberships. So those memberships went to Pernilla, Amy LaFleur, Christine Twisted Quill, and Colette, and then Sherry, Tammy, Genghis, Pumpkin Porter, Wayne, and Lucy with Snakes Will Hiss. So
yeah.
welcome
He
to the
was
Church of Mo.
he was clearly if it hadn't been her, it had been someone else, and that's
And
why.
that's the sad thing.
Yeah, and that's why everyone who wanted to turn it into a spectacle. No, this was evil, and it's just
We
it's just
can
sad.
talk about how it happened later. Right now, this is the thing that we need to focus on. The girl who lost her life for jogging the
Yeah,
wrong way.
yeah, and again, it is, but they didn't seek the death penalty in this case. Him stalking another woman for more than an hour shows me he was out to do this. What this was most likely at least a grape. But probably if he had gotten into the other one's apartment, he would have raped her and then red rummed her. I am very sure of that.
He knows that he's on tenuous, status here. If he gets caught for a murder, or for a grape, he's going to get, sent back. So why leave a witness would be my
Yeah,
guess. But
yeah.
I don't want to get any further into his mind than that, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
No.
not drunk enough at 7 a.m.
Well, I think she will always live with guilt in some way, which is an irrational guilt, and you can say, well, you shouldn't, but she was so far from being his victim because that's roughly how much a locking bolt goes into a door. So she will have the survivor's guilt, and that's for some people it is really, really, really hard to deal with that because why them, not me? You see it a
Yeah.
lot. I know friends who returned from service, and it wasn't as much as PTSD, but the survivor's guilt because why did I make it? He was a better soldier than I. He had a family. He was going places, um, and those people ended up in a very bad place, and it's just survivor's guilt, and it's really really hard. It's like when you watch if you ever watch the Band of Brothers, when you have those interviews with them where they're saying we're not heroes, we left all our heroes behind.
Yeah, and hopefully maybe this spurs her to, when things get rough and she wants to give up maybe on her chosen profession or moving forward, she thinks, you know what, I'm living for Laken. I'm living the
Yeah,
life. She gave me the gift of life. There are ways you can look at it, but it's always going to be with you. And, that's an incredibly heavy burden to bear. Like, I'm here and she's not. I have to do something with my life. And she can just be a regular person and just live. And that's the best, testament to her surviving.
yeah. I knew a buddy who lost a close friend out there, and I think he went on to have 3 sons, and all of them was named in some way after that guy. And that's
Baker, you're going to make me cry before the thing even. I'm going to have to pull out my toilet paper, my hillbilly Kleenex.
yeah. Well, that's just to get us in the mood. Band of Brother is undoubtedly one of the best historical. HBO were really good. Rome 1 and Band of Brothers. Then they made Rome 2, which was crap, and they made The Pacific, which is just horrible.
Were they singing? Were they washing that man right out of their hair? South Pacific is a musical. I was joking, Baker.
Oh, no, but they actually went
He's,
outside in the rain and washed their hair.
well, there's a
Because
song, with the lyric, like, I'm going to wash that man right out of my hair. It doesn't make it as funny if I have to explain it.
no, yeah. Totally not a Russian. Well, he could overturn it, but he will probably follow the sentencing request from the state.
Yeah.
And maybe that's another thing. Maybe the family said we don't want it. Thank you so much,
That
Holly Mac. Terry Lynn, I am Dave, M. Gambler, Toots, and Patches. Patches a Houlihan.
For sentencing, we would first like to present victim impact testimony to His Honor, and then I will proceed with talking about merger or issues like that in the sense that the state would be seeking. But I'm going to go at this time and call the witnesses up who wish to be heard for victim impact. So first, I would like to call Allison Phillips. And why don't Allison, John, and Lauren come on up together, the three of you?
If it's the wrong color. Remember, it's your duty to always be ready to tackle drunk rhymes with stitches. Leave the poor joggers alone. They're just trying to justice on a few pounds, 12-minute miles at a time. Good way to set the mood right before. I love you, Brandon.
And the
Thank
defense
you,
counsel
Brandon.
has
I needed
agreed
that.
There's no need to swear the witnesses for the statement. If you could come over here, Ms. Phillips. So before the court, Your Honor, first will be Allison Phillips, and she's Laken's mom. Behind her is her husband and Laken's stepfather, John Phillips, and then their daughter, Laken's sister, Lauren.
Your Honor, on February 22nd of 2024, our family and friends were given a life sentence without a chance of parole. Jose Ibarra took no pity on my scared, panicked, and struggling child. There is no end to the pain, suffering, and loss that we have experienced or will continue to endure. On that horrific day, my precious daughter was attacked, beaten, and shown no mercy. She fought for her life and dignity and to save herself from being brutally raped. This sick, twisted, and evil coward showed no regard for Laken or human life. We are asking that same be done to him. Laken had a beautiful and bright future. She was smart, hardworking, kind, thoughtful, and most importantly, she was a child of God. She had a personal relationship with Jesus, and she loved being the hands and feet of his hands and feet in this world. She shared her love for our Lord with others through her mission trips.
He is listening. If you look closely, right next to him is a translator who talks right in his ear.
Yeah,
We saw
she
that
is.
during the sentencing as well. Just so he is listening. He is getting translations.
Working with elderly at the nursing homes and through her nursing career. Laken was an amazing friend, sister, niece, daughter, and granddaughter. Anyone who knew her knew about her loving heart. Laken's life was not the only life taken on that day that Jose Ibarra attacked her. The life of her family and friends was taken too. None of us will ever be the same. This monster took away our chances to see Laken graduate from nursing school. He took away our ability to meet our future son-in-law. He destroyed our chances of meeting our grandchildren. And he took my best friend. He ripped away every beautiful memory we will ever be able to make with her again. This horrific individual robbed us all of our hopes and dreams for Laken. Your Honor, I'm asking you to please give Jose Ibarra the same thing he gave us when he made the choice to take Laken's life and destroy ours. He showed no mercy on Laken when she was begging for her life. There's no end to the pain and suffering that he inflicted on our family and our friends. I'm asking you to please give this monster life without any chance of parole so that he never gets the chance to hurt anyone else ever again.
This is John Phillips, Roman.
I'd like to thank Your Honor for the opportunity to speak today. I truly appreciate it. I heard in the opening statements from the defense that the loss of a life that was apparently full of promise is tragic. I'm here today to let Your Honor and the entire world know that Laken's life was not apparently full of promise, but instead was abundantly and exceptionally full of promise, and was a shining beacon in the life of everyone that knew her, that ever came in contact with her. I'm so proud of Laken and the beautiful person she was. And while I could stand here and try to tell the world the things that made her such a wonderful person, as well as the many things we have all been robbed and deprived of, I think one of her last journal entries dated 12/17/23 says it best. So here we go. To my future husband. As silly as I feel writing this, my old small group leader once recommended it, so here I am. To my future husband, I want you to know that I'm thinking about you. I'm working every day to become the best wife I can be, by working through my current relationships to best prepare me for ours and our kids one day. I'm focusing on God and what He defines as a faithful Christian life, and so that I can best embody those characteristics. I pray that you know that it is with my full faith and trust in God that I know this relationship has been handcrafted by Him. I pray that we continue to glorify the Lord, prioritize Him in every aspect of our lives, and raise our family our future family to be God-fearing Christians as well. I pray God is the center of our relationship as it is a gift from him. I thank him for you before I even know you. I can't wait to love you in the best way I know how for the rest of our lives. I pray you know and feel the importance of my love and hopes for our relationship. No matter what challenges we face, I pray that our trust in God and love for one another overrules the obstacle. May our relationship last forever. Your future wife, Laken. That, Your Honor, was our beautiful Laken. That, Your Honor, is just a glimpse of what was tragically and brutally taken from her and us that day. The best daughter, sister, granddaughter, friend, and overall person that you could ever hope to meet. While it's true that none of our lives will ever be the same, we refuse to let this person rob Laken of the hope she gave to her family, loved ones, friends, and the world as a whole. We will proudly carry this hope on in her name in the days ahead and for the rest of our lives, because together we can all keep hope alive. So today, I plead with this court to protect the world from this truly evil person by sentencing him to prison for life without the possibility of parole for any reason, so that he can never have the opportunity to do this to anyone else ever again. Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, Your Honor, is Lauren Phillips.
Your Honor, I wish I could truly put into words how much the tragedy that occurred on February 22nd, 2024 has affected me, but I don't think I'll ever be able to do so. With that being said, I'm going to attempt with the best of my ability to do that for you today. My name is Lauren Phillips, and I had the amazing privilege of living with Laken Riley as my older sister. Laken was and will forever be my most favorite person. She was my biggest role model, and I looked up to her in every way. She brought the joy that I needed into my life and never failed to make me laugh. There was absolutely nothing that I wouldn't do for Laken, and nothing that she wouldn't do for me. Laken was my biggest protector, and I always had this sense of comfort and safety in her presence. We've been inseparable ever since the moment I was born, and I've been lost ever since she was senselessly stripped from our lives by Jose Ibarra. I now have this hole in my heart and in my life that I know will never be filled. I had to walk the stage of my high school graduation without my biggest supporter and cheerleader in the crowd. I had to finish my senior year of high school, which most would say is the happiest and most surreal part of your life. It was simply the opposite for me. I had to turn 18 and become an adult without the one person I looked up to there by my side. I had to get accepted into my dream school, the University of Georgia, without my sister telling me how proud of me she is, and finally getting to live in the same town together again. I now have the burden of dealing with the fact that my best friend and sister will never come home again. She'll never send me another daily good morning text, funny TikTok, or silly Snapchat. The true sense of joy I felt when she would randomly surprise me will never happen again. I will never get to hear her infectious laugh or see her light of a smile ever again. I now get to explain to people when they ask me if I have a sibling that I no longer have one, and not just because she passed away, but because she got brutally attacked and murdered. I cannot walk around my own college campus because I am terrified of people like Jose Ibarra. My parents will never be the same after losing their daughter in this tragic way. Seeing their heartbreak is excruciating. We were once a happy family of 4, and now there is an evident hole where her presence is forever felt. We're a broken family of 3, struggling to find out how to live this life through the silence and emptiness that her absence has left behind. The joy that she brought to our home has been completely replaced with grief, and we are just left holding the pieces of a life that will never feel whole again. She will not get to be at my wedding and next to me as my maid of honor. I get to deal with explaining to my future children what happened to their Aunt Laken and why they won't ever be able to get to feel her love or be spoiled by her. All of these experiences were and will be stripped of me against my will, and I now live in a constant state of fear, anger, and sadness. I think about how my sister saw exactly what was coming and had no way of preventing it.
Yes, because you sentenced him to be there.
I think about how scared she must have been and how that man is the only one to truly witness that scene. I'm not sure why he did this to my Laken, and I know I will never understand. I've waited for him to have a reason, but as the details of this case have unfolded, I realize I'll never get any peace or closure. What Jose Ibarra did to my sister is almost unbearable to listen to. I am completely disgusted having to even look and be in the same room as him. That predator is inhumane and is the epitome of evil. I have no doubt in my mind that the monster sitting in this room with us today is the same monster that encountered my precious sister on February 22nd, 2024, where he proceeded to attack, assault, beat, murder, and attempt to rape her. Jose Antonio Ibarra has completely and utterly ruined my life, and I can only hope and pray that he receives a sentence that ruins his. Thank you.
Call Jason Riley.
Your Honor, I stand here today as a grieving father whose heart was shattered in ways I never thought possible. My daughter, Laken Riley, was not just our child. She was the light of my life, the person who brought joy to every room she entered. And now that light has been extinguished forever, taken from us in the most senseless and violent way imaginable. The pain I feel is unexplainable. Every day I am reminded that my daughter is gone. I will never hear her laugh again, never see her smile, never hold her hand or feel her hug. She was taken from us, from her family, from her friends, from her future. Our world has been torn apart, and no matter what happens here today, nothing will ever bring her back. I am haunted by the thought of the fear she must have felt in those final moments, and it breaks my heart knowing that she suffered. I have to live with the fact that I could not protect her when she needed me the most. The pain of not being there, of not being able to stop what happened to her, is something I will never escape. My daughter had so many dreams, so many hopes for the future. She had worked so hard to become a nurse, to work with children and spread the love of God. She was a loving, kind, and intelligent young woman. She had so much to offer the world, and her life was taken from her far too soon. I will never get to see her achieve those dreams. The void that has been left is unmeasurable. The impact of her loss on our family is immeasurable. As a father, I am forever burdened with the pain of losing my child. I will spend the rest of my life trying to navigate this grief, trying to make sense of the world that took my daughter from our family. But I will never forget her. I will keep her memory alive. And
If that translator pulls out a
I hope
snack, I'm gonna
justice
lose
is
my
served
shit.
for her, not only because I'm her father, but because she deserves it. I ask that you consider this life that was taken, the pain that has been caused, and the lasting effects of this tragedy on everyone who loved our amazing daughter, Laken Hope Riley. Thank you.
There's a translator situated next to him.
Oh God, the roommates who found her.
There's also some strength in not sending everyone up there.
Yeah,
Good
I wish they would have
afternoon.
just stuck with the family.
As I stated in my testimony, my name is Connolly Huth. Laken Riley was my roommate for 2 years, my devoted and loyal running partner for 2 years, and my best friend forever. I stand before you looking at you through eyes that have seen, ears that have heard, and a heart that has felt emotions no body, and especially no 22-year-old should have to. On February 21st, my life was complete. I woke up on February 21st at 7:30 a.m., walked out of my bedroom door to streamers hung outside of my bedroom from the top of the door frame to the floor, balloons blown, decorations taped, and gifts presented precisely on my kitchen island. Laken did it. It was my 22nd birthday. She had a 5 a.m. nursing clinical, yet she woke up at 4:30 a.m. to make me feel loved and appreciated because that is who Laken Riley was. I went to dinner that night with my roommates and my family and ended the night with my roommates and especially Laken showering me with love. It is clear and evident that this defendant, Jose Ibarra, has never felt this type of love and appreciation. I've been impacted by this brutal cowardice and preventable tragedy in every way, shape, and form. I no longer have a best friend that I relay every thought or worry to. I no longer run every day. I lost my partner and I lost the joy of what running was before Laken was taken from us. I cannot imagine running when I constantly am looking over my shoulder in public, wondering if I am next. I live with excruciating guilt every day that I was not accompanying Laken on this run, and that it was her and not me. And I hope and pray that it will never happen again to anyone. Along with this, the crime that this monster committed ruined one of the most special places in our friendship. Lake Herrick was Laken and I's safe space. We loved to go on running adventures throughout the park together. We had a code called dock time. Dock time consisted of either ending our runs or taking a calming walk to the dock at Lake Herrick. Here we would sit in silence, play music, or talk while sitting on the dock, simply enjoying each other's presence. All it took was a text saying, "I need dock time," and we were on the way to debrief whatever we needed to discuss. Now, when I think of this beautiful spot, I think of the terror and horror my sweet best friend had to endure at the hands of this monster. I think of all the things I have to do now to remember Laken. At times, I forget how she laughs or how she sounds, and I have to resort to looking through my camera roll of hundreds of videos I have. Videos where I talk to my future kids and introduce them to their Aunt Laken in college. To talk to my friend, I have to drive 20 minutes to her grave and sit and talk to her with no response, screaming at the sky. When I want to remember her, I have to go to my closet and pull out her clothes I was given and smell them to remember how she smelled. As I stand up here today, I am wearing one of Laken's shirts. This shirt has sat in my closet for months, not because I'm saving it for an occasion, but because I cannot afford to not remember these things like this about her. I sit in therapy week after week trying to heal February 22nd and life after. When I hear emergency vehicle sirens, I am triggered. I sat that day and watched dozens of emergency personnel drive by as I sat helpless. My roommates and I had to draw our own conclusions that the pinnacle of our house was no longer here when we watched a coroner drive by us after sitting at the fields for 2 hours with no answers. Our fears were confirmed when we received a university-wide email that alerted students, faculty, and staff that a female was deceased. I lost faith in humanity the day that my kind, selfless, beautiful, smart, loving, and perfect best friend left this earth. I will never understand why it had to happen in the first place, but more importantly, why out of all people it had to be her. The world lost a girl who would take the clothes off her back for her family, friends, and even strangers, who studied and devoted her life to Christ and nursing so she could save lives and make a difference in this world. Laken cannot be replaced. If you had the ability to bring her back out of all this, I would give up every earthly possession I have to see her infectious smile, hear her contagious laugh, and her infamous "love you, girl," and I would hug her neck, but you cannot. Laken made this world, and more specifically my world, better. My first 2 years of college, when I did not know Laken, I went home all the time. My last 2 years of college, you had to drag me home. That was because Laken was my person. So, Your Honor, I wish to proclaim the maximum sentence for the defendant, as I will never be the same, her loving, beautiful family will never be the same, and this world will never be the same. I hope this sentencing sets a precedent, so it stops with Laken and fails to happen to anyone again. Laken was a hero and a warrior. She died a hero and a warrior, and she is a hero and warrior to all of us. Laken was my source of light, joy, and unwavering happiness. So when her life was taken, so was the part of me that knew how to truly feel those things again. Thank you, Your Honor.
Lily Steiner, Your Honor.
Your Honor, my name is Lily Steiner, and as mentioned in my testimony, I was one of Laken's roommates, friends, and family. On the day of February 22nd, 2024, Laken Riley was taken by Jose Ibarra from her family, her roommates, her friends, her sorority sisters, her classmates, her future children, her future husband, and her future patients. This trial focused on the death of Laken, which has overshadowed the life that she lived, the life that was stolen from this community. Laken was the most driven student with the biggest heart of anyone I think I ever will meet. As roommates, we got to spend a whole lot of time together. We had our family dinners that were strictly chili. We watched Dancing with the Stars every Tuesday. We had almost daily Starbucks runs, which I hoped to do that morning when I checked her location around the time she took her final breaths. We'd often get to a point at least once a week where we'd get emotional, thinking about what life is going to be like once we graduated. Laken held a place in all of our imaginary futures. Now, Sophia, Connolly, and I graduated in May, required to move on with our lives, while Laken can't. We have the privilege to get jobs and move to an exciting new city to experience post-grad life, but Laken doesn't. I'm currently working as a medical assistant, waking up every day dreading that I won't get a text from her to make my day better. I'm striving to work in the medical field, but I know I could never be half the healthcare worker that Laken would have been and that the world was deprived of. While living together, we often would play outside of our house in the middle of the street, specifically Foursquare, listening to a playlist I made called Playtime with My Family. Our home was such a special place to us, one that was tainted. Athens has never been the same, nor will it ever be. Shortly after Laken's death, I had to come back to UGA to finish my classes without Laken and without the safe space that we built together, and it was awful. Every time I wanted to go somewhere, I had to drive by the apartments that provided a roof over his head while he got to rip away ours. Life without Laken has been so dull, and having to learn how to navigate time without her through grief, anger, and fear has been beyond difficult. So many people are lost without her. Laken made her short time on Earth so significant that she managed to impact those who she never even met. Laken left a colossal legacy to everyone she touched, and I have zero doubt that she is still not finished building it. And that is something Jose Ibarra will never be able to take away. I hope to never say his name again, but to shout Laken's every chance I get. I kindly ask Your Honor that you help us all in our long healing journey by allotting the maximum sentence for Jose that unfortunately still won't make up for the beautiful life taken.
Sophia.
Your Honor, my name is Sophia Magana. I'm Laken Riley's roommate of 3 years. I stand before you today with a heart full of grief, sadness, and an overwhelming sense of loss of my best friend. Laken wasn't just my best friend. She was my roommate, my sorority sister, and above all, she was my chosen family. The joy and kindness Laken brought into my life every single day could never fully be put into words. We confided in each other, supported each other through life's challenges, and celebrated our joys together. The loss of my best friend has shattered my world in ways I never thought possible. I never imagined that I'd have to navigate life without her by my side. Every day, her friends, family, and loved ones carry the weight of her absence, a weight that is heavy and unrelenting. Laken was my fearless other half. As someone who's reserved and awkward, Laken was always there to nudge me to step out of my comfort zone. She would pull me onto the dance floor and encourage me to try new things and remind me to live life to the fullest. I trusted her completely, and I always knew she was there for me as I was for her. Those small, precious pieces of life that we once took for granted are now reminders of what I've lost. Laken taught so many people in her life invaluable lessons. She showed me how to find joy in every moment, how to embrace life with an open heart, and how to dance in a crowded room without caring what anyone else thought. These lessons will stay with me forever. Laken was not just my best friend. She was a devoted daughter, a loving sister, and a cherished friend to so many. She was an exceptional student with a bright future ahead of her, destined to become a nurse who would touch countless lives with her compassion and care. I miss hearing her laugh, seeing her smile, and hearing her voice, all of which brought warmth and light to all those around her. Now we are forced to confront an unthinkable reality. We will never again hear the joy of her laughter, feel the warmth of her smile, or find peace in the sound of her voice. The loss of Laken has left a hole in our hearts that can never be filled. The monster who took Laken's life has clearly never known love, like the love Laken showed everyone in her life. Love that was boundless. Love that was a testament to the amazing person she was. Jose Ibarra brutally attacked Laken. And now spaces that were once filled with joy and peace are places I fear for my safety. I now live my life in a fear, constantly looking on my shoulder with the new reality that the unexpected can happen. A world Laken taught me to embrace is now a world I feel unsafe in. Every day I put on a brave face as I step into my classroom, ready to teach and support my students. I mask my emotions and fears to shield them from the harsh realities of the world, preserving their sense of security and innocence in the world. Yet inside, I'm struggling, holding back tears until I can slip away to the bathroom or wait for the school day to end so I can finally let my true emotions surface beyond those four walls. February 22nd, 2024 is a day I will never.
She is. She is
Yeah.
obligated to say every single FU or whatever might come out of people's mouth. She has sworn a duty that she will faithfully translate every single word said in this trial. Him not showing emotion is because he is a cold-hearted.
I volunteer as tribute for the FU witness because I can't drink because I have to go pick up my children who are going to wonder if I have a cold now. I know that we talked about not having the roommates on, but can I say, as a mom of girls who are about this age, a little bit younger, the bravery,
Gerda,
the
there is an
fortitude.
interpreter right next to him that he hears every single word that's been said. Everything single word is put into his ears.
But the bravery and the composure that these young ladies, and not to make it about me, but I was about this age when my life blew up, and I had to go off screen when she talked about the shirt because I remember that. I finally had to give it away to stop, leaning on it. So I get that. And I couldn't have stood up and said something as eloquent or as impactful and respectful and not FU. So I honestly, these girls are just amazing. And I know we said not, having them up there, but that's more because it's daggone hard for us.
Yeah, I'm ambivalent about it because it's great speeches and they get their closure, but it's also a lot of the same. And again, the judge, yes, he will listen to everything, but you could, all four girls could stand there and give a joint statement.
Yeah.
I like that the
Yeah.
family gets to say their words, but yeah.
It, look, this day just sucks. The only thing that's going to
Yeah.
make it better is if Jose Ibarra got, stuck and covered in honey and landed on an fire ant hill on his way to prison.
There's a reason why, for all of you said you couldn't get up there. Look at Mr. Security guard right here. Every time they walk down, he steps in here to make sure no one jumps the table. But dang, this got me in the feels.
Yep.
Forget. It is a day Jose Ibarra chose to commit an unthinkable act of murder Laken. He took from this world somebody who embodied love and light. Jose took my light, my sense of joy, my best friend, and my other half. Losing Laken has left an enormous hole in my life. The world feels quieter, emptier, and far less joyful without her in it. Her absence is felt in every corner of my day-to-day life, and I don't know how to fill the space that she once occupied. But what I do know is this. Laken's legacy of love, kindness, and friendship will live in all of us who knew her. The love she gave so freely will continue to guide me as I navigate this life without her. Jose Antonio Ibarra took Laken's life, and I hope that your verdict ensures that Jose experiences lifelong pain that is only a small glimpse of the pain we will live with daily since the loss of Laken. No punishment will ever truly account for what Jose has done, but it is my hope that justice will honor Laken's memory and the profound impact she had on all of our lives. Thank you.
Abby, have a minute. This is Abby Haviland. You want me to read it for you? You want to read it? Can you read it?
I can.
Okay. So, Your Honor, Miss Carrie Howell will be reading the statement for Abby. And this is Abby's statement that she prepared, but will be read right here.
It was 1:49 p.m. on February 22nd of 2024 that I learned Laken was missing. I immediately text her, "Laken, where are you? Why are people saying you're missing?" Just minutes after 2:17 p.m., a campus email came out confirming my worst nightmare. Laken had been found unconscious and not breathing. Laken, the girl I met in middle school and became best friends with our freshman year of high school. The girl I couldn't imagine being far away from when it came time for college, so we both decided to attend the University of Georgia together. The girl who stuck by me and got me through some of my toughest times in life, as well as accompanied me during some of my best. The loss of her is something I will never be able to come to terms with. I will never be able to come to terms with the fact that I was sitting in class just down the road, going about my day, the morning this horrific event was taking place. I will never not think about the last time I saw her, the pink sweatshirt she was wearing, and the last words she ever said to me. I will never not think about all the things I would have said had I known it would be my last time seeing her and talking to her. Myself, everyone up here, and the world has lost such a special person. Laken was intelligent, patient, loyal, driven, and kind. Her pureness and love for the Lord were evident and shined through her in a way unlike anyone I have ever met before. She is in a better place, but it is not fair that the rest of us still here on earth have to suffer because of this individual's actions. Because of this individual, some of my happiest days, such as the day I get married and have kids, will be forever accompanied by a feeling of grief, a sadness that Laken will not be there with me to experience them. Because of this individual, I have so many fun memories, but no one here to share them with. Because of this individual, I will be searching for the rest of my life for a friendship like the one I shared with Laken, but I know I will never find one because ours was simply unreplicable. I am here today to support Laken. I hope to provide only a fraction of the support she continuously gave me during her time here on earth. I miss her desperately and long for the day I get to see her again. Since February 22nd of 2024, I will forever be changed.
Sophia Plum. Palomino. Palomino.
Good afternoon. February 22nd, 2022 changed my life forever. Not being in Athens that day will forever haunt me. Finding out through an email will forever haunt me. And seeing this posted all over social media will forever haunt me. Laken Riley was my best friend, the person I told everything to, and the person I trusted with anything. The pain of the last 9 months has been indescribable. If you would have asked me a year ago where I thought I'd be and what I would do in 2024, I'd tell you I'd be finishing up my second to last semester of college with Laken as my roommate as she finishes nursing school. I'd tell you we spent St. Patrick's Day together in Savannah, and I'd tell you we went on that trip we planned to New York. I'd tell you she finally got me into running, and she would train me for the half this year. I'd tell you many things and many of our plans, but instead I get to tell you how different my year was. I get to tell you that I can't do anything by myself anymore, even in broad daylight. I get to tell you that a town I used to love being in just fills me with dread. That everywhere I go just reminds me of places we used to hang out and go on walks to. I tell you that I can't go past our old house and haven't been able to return to the IM field since. I tell you the weight of emptiness I feel when I still go to text her sometimes. This is now something I have to live with for the rest of my life, knowing her life was taken too soon and things I was looking forward to will never happen. Being at each other's weddings, graduating together, and seeing each other's start our careers. This wasn't just a life that was taken, it was a future stolen. It's difficult living with knowing that nothing and nobody will fill the hole that's been left in our absence. I will never get to experience her famous belly laugh again, her comforting presence, or her cheering me on as we go through life. So many what ifs play in my head over and over. If just one more thing maybe would have changed her path that day. But instead, my reality is that she is not here. And that because of what this animal did, we have sat here all week hearing every fraction of evidence and reliving the worst days of our life on repeat. I know nothing will bring her back, even though I so badly wish it would. But justice would bring comfort to us all. No one who can take away such a light and sweet soul deserves to walk free ever again. The death of my best friend has changed my life forever.
Carrie Howell.
Hi, Your Honor. I've started this over and over and over. Feeling paralyzed in my thoughts. With overwhelming emotions, not knowing which direction to go, because there's so much that can be said today. Everyone has spoken so beautifully over her, and I had the privilege of getting to speak about her at her celebration of life and getting to talk about
all of the beautiful and wonderful things about her. My name is Carrie Howell, and my husband Matt and I have had the blessing of calling Laken and Lauren's parents, John and Allison Phillips, our best friends. John and Matt met in college, where they were roommates and fraternity brothers, and they formed a bond as friends that grew into a true brotherhood. This brotherhood between them extended to connect our families together in the same exact way. It is a friendship that runs deep and loves big. Our families and children have grown up together and had many adventures and vacations together over the last 20 plus years. We have had the privilege and joy of watching Laken and Lauren grow up. 272 days ago, on the morning of February 22nd, 2024, our lives were forever changed in a way none of us could have ever imagined. The moment I got the call from my husband that Laken had not returned home from her morning run, that no one could get her on the phone and she was missing, I knew in my heart something horrific had happened to her. I had the worst feeling that she was no longer with us, but I prayed and prayed and prayed as I frantically got ready to make the drive to Athens to be with my friends. I was begging the Lord for her to still be alive, and as terrible as this would be, that she had just been kidnapped and would be found physically unharmed and alive, or that she would be able to escape to safety, and praying she wasn't being trafficked. I was literally praying for her to not be kidnapped. Like, that sounds so crazy. But that just at the time seemed better than the alternative. I've never prayed for anyone to be kidnapped. I get the calls on my phone, and in fact, I pray for those people to be found and unharmed. Can you imagine your pleading prayers with the Lord being for someone you adore and love to just be kidnapped? That option gave me hope in that moment that she would be brought back to her family alive. I was desperate for my friends. This nightmare spiraled out of control when I received another call from my husband while he was on the road, or while I was on the road to Athens. John had called my husband, and he said to my husband, "She's with Jesus, brother." That will never leave my memory. As my oldest daughter and I sat in traffic on our way to Athens, time seemed to have stopped in that moment. Yet, as we are here 272 days later, time has continued. It has continued in ebbs and flows of every emotion you can experience. Time has stood still in utter disbelief that this precious human is gone, while day-to-day life continues on. This was an act of pure evil at the hands of Jose Ibarra. He willfully chose to prey on innocent young women on the morning of February 22nd, with Laken Riley being the young woman he would succeed in torturing in the most excruciating and brutal way, while she fought not only for her life, but for her dignity. He must have believed that she was there for his taking, that he was entitled to whatever sick, perverted urges and desires he had that morning. Not one person on this planet has even one right to take what they want from a person simply because they want it. Yet Jose did that. Because of his evil actions, we are all being forced to learn how to navigate life with the stark, harsh reality of Laken no longer being here. Her amazing friends have been robbed of the beautiful gift of lifelong friendships and doing life together with their future husbands and children, the way my family and the Phillips family have been blessed to do all of these years. Her grandparents and aunts and uncles and cousins feel the absence of her presence constantly and have been robbed of the continued blessing of her being a bright light in their family. My family and I have journeyed alongside our dear friends as they attempt to navigate and learn how to live a new normal without their oldest daughter. I've gotten to know my best friend's face in a new way, a way I would give back if I could make returns on the most devastating circumstances life can hold. I look at her and I know when a situation is too much. I know when a comment is too much. I know when to be silent and when she needs encouragement. This year is showing on all of our faces, like the harshness of cold winter days, that there seems to be no end in sight. But we will keep fighting because we refuse to allow Jose Antonio Ibarra to take anything else from us, and we serve a good and mighty God. We've already been forced to journey through our annual family vacation without her, family get-togethers, fun events. And the absence of her presence is so deafening. I mean, sure, we still laugh and we're still living. We're still here. So we have to keep living, and we're going to honor her with everything that we have. And we're just going to keep trusting in the Lord to help our dear friends and sweet Lauren with all of the things that they're now not going to experience with their daughter. No parent should have to say goodbye to their daughter in this manner. The loss of a child is devastating no matter what the circumstances are. But when it's something like this where evil intentionally goes out to harm somebody, there's no words for it. And so today I stand before you with her friends and family, and we ask you, Your Honor, to bring earthly justice for our precious Laken and for all of us who love her so very much. She was truly one of the most precious people that I've ever had the honor of knowing. She exhibited the fruit of the Spirit in the Bible because she truly lived her life for Jesus, as you got to hear John read in her journal entry. That was her. That was a private entry, not for anyone else. And you got to see the type of person that she truly is in her heart. Pure and lovely, and her laugh that everyone has talked about, literally one of all of our favorite things about her. And we never get to hear it again because of him. So we ask, Your Honor, for you to consider in your sentencing for him to not be able to ever be out of prison and for him to spend all of his days there without any possibility of getting out. Thank you.
Tell me your name.
It is Carrie Howell.
Carrie?
Yes, sir.
And Your Honor, that at this time completes the statements for victim impact evidence from Laken's family and friends. The state would also have a few more items to present for victim impact, and then I'll address the indictment with the court. And one of the things I wanted to share with the court.
Now I remember why I don't watch victim impact statements. One thing is when they rage and yell at people, but this is so much worse.
Yeah, it's so easy to see our kids and these young ladies talking about losing their friends. It's so easy because it is a nightmare that no one wants to happen. And we all know there's monsters out there. But I will say, and I did type it out, there are monsters out there, but there are also knights. There are also angels. Did you see how quickly everyone got their shoes on, everyone laced up, and we were like, we're going to go find Laken. So yeah, this monster might have won, but there are plenty of people that were out there to defend her and try to find her. And there were more of them than there were of this evil butthole.
Yeah, and hopefully at some point we will go back to where we remember that sometimes it's okay for a little toxic masculinity to take care of evil things like this.
Is that a lot of times when we hear victim impact evidence, it is very much so the way that we hear it here in court. Hold on, I'm going to pause this for. But what we have in this case,
This one. Another thing, just like when 9/11 and all of that stuff happened, also, don't let them change your world. Don't let them bring that evil into your world. Remember
Be
that.
smart. You know, be
Teach
aware
your
of your
kids.
surroundings.
Teach your kids to take care of themselves, but don't let evil change your world.
something that I ran across in my review of the evidence in this case, which is really 1 minute of when or where this court will be able to get the true impact of what the murder of Laken Riley did to her family and the impact of his actions on her family. Because what the investigators did in this case is, as you know, they were all wearing body cam videos, and there's hundreds of hours of it in here. And there is one moment where, and I'm just going to play 1 minute of it, just 1 minute of the horror that this family has gone through in the last 9 months and what they're going to continue to go through for the rest of their lives. And it is the moment that they learned that their daughter was dead. And in this video clip that I'm showing, which I've marked as states 333, at the top right corner, it's at 1950. You'll see a black truck.
Our daughter's late. Are you daughter's what? It's my daughter. Okay, we'll step over here. Come on, let's go. Come over here, all right? It's not good. I don't want to tell you yes or no because I don't have names. I don't know who anybody is. But I do know that this is pretty sensitive.
That's what they endured.
Jesus.
And that's how it was on that day when they came here to look for their daughter. And what it took away, you heard from her friends and family, and some of the things that you even heard in the trial. You got a little peek, just a little peek, about the personality of Laken Riley. For example, in Lily's 911 call, one of the things she says is, Laken never misses class. Never misses class. That's the kind of person she was. And in our review of all the evidence in this case, some of the things we had to look at were the social media presence of everyone, and there was a lot of digital evidence in this case. And the review of the digital evidence, I want to share with you just some of it, which has been marked State's Exhibit 336, is that Laken was a very joyful and quite silly, playful person. And a lot of that is viewed in her social media. And the Ring doorbell. Running. Same race. And these are just little snippets.
Did you hear Lesko was at the race?
Thank you, Baker. Dear Lord.
I didn't know Brandon was a runner, but they knew him down there.
All right, let's go. Daggone me having to pick up my children from transport because I could use like a Sarah Boone Magnum serving of wine right now. That footage is real. That footage is raw. But god damn the pain in that. The knock you off your feet. You don't have gravity, and Jesus.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's and you can hear that was the heart that broke. So, but on the bright side, Brandon, I like that you get in your 5Ks in now and again.
That we saw in the investigation that we thought would be important to share with the court. That shows not only the type of person that she was, that you just heard from her friends and family, but the true impact that her murder had on her parents. But more than that, one of the things that the court is permitted to consider in victim impact testimony is the impact that her death has on this community. And in that regard, the investigative team has spent a great deal of time out there at the crime scene, Lake Herrick, all of those trails, and looking for things, measuring things, just going about the daily jobs of homicide investigators and homicide prosecutors. And one thing that we noticed that's still there is States 335. It's a mural, a memorial to Laken Riley that is still up there to this day that shows the impact of her death on this community. And that is something that Your Honor is permitted to consider in deciding what would be an appropriate sentence in this case. And everyone is correct, and I'm sure we'll hear it. You know, whatever you do, Judge, you can't bring her back, and it's horrible. But what you can do is give comfort with your sentence. And what you can do and what you are permitted to do, and what I urge this court to do, and what the law permits this court to do, is to exercise your discretion and your judgment in a way that brings comfort to this community, and in a way that a sentence which appropriately reflects the harm that was done in this case. And a sentence of life without the possibility of parole would bring comfort to this community. And no matter what your sentence is today, and it will be litigated from here to 40 years from now, there is at least one person in this courtroom who will inherit it. And that is Lauren Phillips. That is Laken's younger sister. And she should never, first of all, she's growing up without her sister. She's going to have to deal with elderly parents alone. Her children won't have an aunt. She is an only child. And she should not have to worry 30 years from now, 40 years from now, if he comes up for parole, should he might get out. She should never have to worry about that. And your sentence can ensure that she will not have to worry about that. And so in looking at the indictment in this case, count one, the offense of malice murder, which this defendant has been found guilty of, in this particular case carries a maximum sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. It carries a minimum sentence of life imprisonment with the possibility of parole. The state is requesting that you sentence this defendant to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, not only due to the victim impact testimony, but also because if you read the indictment, which you have obviously, and you're familiar with the facts of the case because you've heard the case, there are several statutory aggravators in this case that separates this case from a regular murder case. And yes, there is malice murder, and all malice murder is bad. I'm not saying there's a malice murder that isn't bad, but there are some malice murders which are more aggravated than others, and this is one of them. Kidnapping with bodily injury, which is the felony murder in count 2, which by the way would be vacated as a matter of law, but not the kidnapping itself, which is count 5. But kidnapping with bodily injury is an aggravating statutory factor under our sentencing scheme in the state of Georgia. It makes malice murder worse than regular murder. And for that reason alone, you should sentence this defendant to life without the possibility of parole. Aggravated battery, which is also in this indictment and which is also the facts, and it's also something he's been convicted of, is also a statutory aggravator under our statutory scheme, which makes this murder different and worse than a regular malice murder. So there are aggravating circumstances, which you have already heard, which I will not repeat to you, but that are not only recognized by the facts, but are recognized by our statutory sentencing scheme. So going down the rest of the indictment, felony murder count 2 is vacated as a matter of law. Felony murder count 3 would be vacated as a matter of law. Felony murder count 4 would be vacated as a matter of law. On count 5, kidnapping with bodily injury, the state is asking you to sentence this defendant to a sentence of life imprisonment with the possibility of parole, which is the maximum for that count. And we are going to ask that you run that consecutive to count 1, a sentence of life imprisonment without the possibility of parole for the malice murder. Count 6 is aggravated assault with intent to rape. It does not merge. In fact, it is a separate crime under these circumstances. The penalty for that is 1 to 20 years in prison. The state would be asking you to sentence this defendant to 20 years to serve in prison. Count 7 of the indictment, the aggravated battery, would merge as a matter of law into count 1. So we would not request a sentence on that count. Count 8, obstruction or hindering a person making an emergency telephone call, is a misdemeanor. The maximum penalty.
She's trained to do that. She is not allowed to do any of that. She has probably done a lot of courses to learn. It's kind of like a stenographer or court reporter.
Yeah.
They are probably the people who have it the worst today because she cannot.
No, she
Them
doesn't
and the
get
judge must be icebergs.
Yeah, and I mean, God bless these people. I mean, look, the defense had to see all these pictures too. As much as we dogged on the defense, they're part of the system. The prosecutors, and I know they get jaded, you get calluses and that kind of thing, but I can't imagine having to go see these things and then try to be a functional human for your family and, put this in a box where you don't worry about it. So, I mean, kudos to them because I don't know that I could do it.
Yeah, it's
Also, can't we
those.
punch him now, allegedly in Minecraft?
Yeah, I think you should have like you had in the old Roman legions when people got punishment. They had to run between the companies, and the companies was just whack them with a stick, just on the way out of court in Minecraft.
I'm
of
kind of
course.
okay with it. Like a reverse wedding, you throw really heavy things at him.
Yeah. So yeah, and for all of you who are yelling that why there's no DP, she got voted out. So that's again, please don't sit here and at the worst part of this trial try and turn it into a political thing.
Yeah,
Let's just get
let's
this
keep it
asshole
respectful.
buried so fast and so deep
Yeah.
that we will never ever hear about him again, other than he had a Epstein like accident in Gen
Yeah,
Pop.
I mean, unfortunately, those soap bars are slippery, and I mean, that's anyone
his
could get
towel was
stabulated a bunch in the shower while looking for soap. I mean,
yeah.
it's a Tuesday.
Yeah, and I don't know. I have this idea that life in a hellhole of a prison is worse than getting the easy way out in 5 years when your parole's up or 10 years when your parole is up. I want him to live to be 150 years old.
Yep.
I wish him a long, hard life with a lot of guys who has long, hard things they will shove into him repeatedly, every day.
Yeah, and there are some people you don't mess with. This has touched a lot of nerves, and he's not going to go to a place with friendly reception.
He better have a really good connection, or else he's probably going to be toast.
Yeah.
For that is 12 months to serve in the county jail. We ask that you sentence him to that and run it consecutive to any other sentence that you impose in this case. Count 9, tampering with evidence, the way that it is actually alleged in the indictment and factually it is a misdemeanor. So the maximum for that is 12 months to serve in the county jail. We ask that you sentence him to that and run it consecutive to any other sentence that you impose in this case. And finally, count 10 of the indictment, peeping Tom, is a felony which carries a penalty between 1 to 5 years in prison. We ask that you sentence him to 5 years to serve in prison to run consecutive to count 1. So to sum it up, the sentence would be on count 1, life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Count 5, life imprisonment with the possibility of parole to run consecutive to count 1. Count 6, 20 years to serve to run consecutive. Count 7 will merge. Count 8, 12 months to serve to run consecutive. Count 9, 12 months to serve to run consecutive. And count 10, 5 years to serve to run consecutive. And that is the sentence that the state is requesting.
Mr. Donnelly?
God, to have to go up after that,
Yeah.
even if it is your job, I mean, you could not pay me enough.
No, but he has done his job now, and now
No, he has.
Yeah, and he will probably read something very not emotional, very clerical, because when he turns around and this guy is carted off to prison for life, he will turn around and look into the faces of those 7 people who were up there giving a victim impact statement, and he will also go home tonight and lay next to his wife, daughters, sons. So they do what they must do, and sometimes monsters need a lawyer. Sometimes, in the case of Zachariah Anderson, innocent people get railroaded. It's not perfect, but someone has to do it.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So obviously, the court is aware that on count 1, there's really only 2 options before the court.
I silence you. Iris didn't silence you. I have repeatedly asked, please don't turn this political. If you want to turn it political, please go to a channel that's about politics. And Iris would never, ever silence anyone without me asking her to. I have a high bar, but I've specifically in this case asked, please don't take away from the crime because you want to have your political views, no matter what they are. This is a 22-year-old girl where we just heard her entire family. I don't give a fuck about his migration status. And if this is what you're thinking about right now, I understand some people make fun and jokes because that's how they deal with it, and that's fine. I can live with people maybe what other people feel is too much. But if your most important thought right now is, I must wave the flag for my party, I pity people who has that as the most important agenda right now. I've been crying every time I turn my camera off because
Yeah, this is
22-year-old girl will never run. never have a
Yeah,
kid.
let's give her her moment and we can have these greater discussions elsewhere. I'm not saying that, you know, Discord, I have a Discord now. I'm really bad at it, like really, really bad. But if you want to have this conversation, I'll put up a political channel.
There's a political
So,
in my channel, voice chat. Go in there as long as you respect each other. If it's really
but
now you
this
want to
is really,
discuss
really
it,
hard right now. So if we could not
yeah,
add more more difficult stuff,
yeah,
that would be great. Some of us are not doing so fantastical. But, you
yeah. And
know,
Boost, don't start with your putting word in your mouth. You like to kick the bucket, it's fine, but not now, not today, brother. It's not the day for this.
It's an automatic life sentence. The only option is whether the court can indicate that it should be without the possibility of future parole. We're asking the court to not impose that. The life without parole. Getting a life sentence is automatic. There's certainly no guarantee of parole, and would be uncertain, and it would be many decades in the future. And we do not oppose the state's recommendation that the life sentence, which is also mandatory on count 5, be made consecutive. We certainly, just to state the obvious, trust that the court will not consider for sentencing purposes the fact that Mr. Ibarra had a trial. The defense has made every attempt, made every effort to do its job and to pursue this process in a way to respect both the process itself and also to not cause any disrespect toward the feelings of Ms. Riley's loved ones. And if anything like that has happened, it certainly was not intended. And the defense is not immune to the sensitivity of this case. Again, to not only her loved ones, but to the greater community. The state's request is not unexpected to us. We anticipated that, and it's certainly understandable. And there is, though, a divide there. The state, while it is understandable the request that they make, the court, there's some separation given here in this process, and whether the court will be the one to impose it. So our request that you give consecutive life sentences on counts 1 and count 5. We have no position on the remaining counts. We'll send a message that to whatever future custodian of Mr. Ibarra as to the gravity of this crime and the gravity of this situation. That the court has expressed an intention for, it's obviously a legal fiction that he would serve 2 life sentences behind bars, but the law allows that, and it does, it sends that message to the future custodians as to the gravity. But the withholding of the life without parole aspect of count 1 would at least give Mr. Ibarra.
Yes, they kind of do this again. This is their job. Any defense lawyer would have said the same thing. Please show leniency. That's their job.
The sliver of incentive to reflect and conduct himself with some recognition of that reflection. The state agency and the staff of that agency who will be tasked with supervising his custody will have the opportunity to monitor him closely for, again, many years, many decades into the future. And it's impossible to know the future, obviously.
Well, a lot of states have actually gone soft on the DP. We saw it in the kid, The 14-year-old. Jamie. The young girl dressed as a nun from Germany in the 30s. That state had put him on hold. So maybe
Well,
people are going away
it's
from
also
it.
very appealable. It's also years and years and years of appeals.
Yeah.
There's a lot of red tape, and a lot of the states are honestly looking at it as a cost thing. I mean, it's so much more expensive with the amount of lawyers and the specialized lawyers you need to do to put on a death penalty case. But the other part is, if the family is as deeply evangelical as they seem to be, um, they could be not in favor of the DP.
Yeah, and 2 consecutive life sentences. Yeah, then he would have to be paroled twice before he could get out. So good luck with that one.
But by imposing life sentences without removing the future custodians to the ability to do their job, is our request at this time. And we also would point out that given his status with, there is an immigration hold, that were he ever in the future to be released, it would only to be deported. And that's all I have. We leave it in the discretion of the court. Thank you.
Remind me never to watch these again.
Before I announce the sentence, let me, I just have a couple of thoughts. One is, oftentimes people use the term closure at an event like this, and I acknowledge that there's no such thing as closure. There will not be closure. This is just another stage or event in this tragedy, and that's the way I view that. People mean well by saying that, but it's I've heard it explained that when you have something like this that impacts one or many, you even have to make a conscious effort to breathe at sometimes. And that just comes on you at any particular, you just don't know what's going to bring it on you. And you realize that you do make it through the day, but you don't know how you did it. But I also, and this goes back to what Carrie Howell was saying, that, as many times as you reflect on the loss, at some point you start smiling about the memories. And I'm hopeful that at some point that takes over to a certain extent. But
Only just starting at 17 years, sir.
There's very little, including the sentence of Mr. Ibarra, that's going to help much, and I acknowledge that. With that, Mr. Ibarra, if you will please stand. Count 1, malice murder. I sentence you to life without the possibility of parole. Count 2 will be vacated as a matter of operation of law. Count 3, vacated by operation of law. Count 4, vacated by operation of law. Count 5, life in prison consecutive to count 1. Count 6, 20 years to serve consecutive to count 5. Count 7 will merge with count 1. Count 8, 12 months consecutive to count 6. Strike that. 12 months, but I don't want it to 6. It's just going to be consecutive. Count 9, 12 months consecutive. Count 10, 5 years consecutive to count 6. So that would mean the misdemeanors would come after the felonies. That will be the sentence. Mr. Barr, I will advise you that you have 30 days from today to seek any post-judgment relief in the form of a motion for a new trial or appealing this case directly. If you make a motion for a new trial and that is denied, you have 30 days from that date to file your first appeal, first level of appeal. Court will appoint a lawyer to represent you if you cannot afford one. I'll also advise you that you have 4 years from the date that your conviction becomes final in order to file a habeas corpus petition. Mr. Donnelly, can you tell me, are you all going to be involved in the next stage?
That remains to be seen, but my understanding is that we will remain on at the court's appointment until unless relieved by conflict counsel.
All right, and you'll make those arrangements.
We will communicate that with Mr. Ibarra and the court.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Ms. Ross?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. It's going to take a little. No, can we take the? Okay, that'll be fine. You can do that.
Everybody remain seated, please.
All right. That will conclude the proceedings. Can I ask you something, Dana?
Well, I will say I appreciate this judge letting the family and the roommates' words kind of speak. He didn't, pontificate. He didn't lecture. He didn't have a sermon. And I think in this case, it's okay because I don't know that he could have said anything better than her friends and family did. But God, that video.
Yeah. That's a reason why I don't like doing the victim impact trials hearings, because they hurt my little soul. But everyone, this has been a very, very emotional trial. This has been a roller coaster, as most trials are, but as you can see, I'm very red in my head right now. Even the old stone man had to go off screen and dry his eyes a few times because
Well, at least you weren't on the pot pretending you were having a cigarette. I remember that story you told me, and it just kind of touched me. So I'm like, Baker's on the toilet smoking a cigarette.
yeah, just to get over it. I want to thank Chad. I didn't want to do this trial because I was afraid that it would turn into a political sideshow where everyone was going to yell about everything. You have been amazing as always, Mo. Always the funniest
Thank
one.
you.
Sadly, Jamie has been in the Tora Bora Mountains, unaliving, helping spreading American ideas. So she hasn't been here as much, but she was here. And thank you so much, Joyful, for a super sticker with a pear.
Aw.
We like a Sarah Boone case because we can laugh the entire way through, except when we saw those horrible, horrible videos.
Yes.
They cases like that is always fun because we get to do what we do best, and that is to make fun of stuff, be entertaining when there's a break, laugh at people who shows up in a weird vest, or say they had sex with their mother-in-law.
Yeah, next trial I recommend is going to be a heist. So, we definitely need a heist. What's next, K Grift or Miss K Griff? I will be covering a couple of cases that people have sent that they want me to go over some of the documents and things like that. Uh, you know what? I don't know right now. My brain's kind of scramble-fied, and I'm trying to get back into mom who has children and ferals who need to be grounded, or at least one of them, mode. So,
Thank you so
you
much,
know,
Sandy, for gifting 5 memberships.
oh.
To Caitlin. Oh, we have beef. Caitlin doesn't want to come on my show. I've asked her multiple times. Who's Huge Ass, Stacy H, and Salty Rules, and Chia Pet. Thank you,
And,
Sandy.
you know, this has been a hard time. Go watch some kitten videos. Maybe call a relative, call your mom, call, people that hug your kids. Just really in the spirit of Laken Riley, go out and spread some kindness today. Smile at someone, give someone a compliment. You know, it's a small thing, but doggone it, she tried it. And, look at all the people that she touched their lives. So, if we can take anything good out of it, let's try to pay it forward and be a little bit of a Laken Riley today and every day going forward for other people. Also, if you have cats farting videos or something funny, please send it in my DMs on Twitter because holy God, someone send that monkey who smells his own fart and passes out meme like stat. I need it all.
I haven't covered rackets. I don't think I'm gonna start doing it because again, there's 5 problems in that case that also.
Yeah.
I don't want to do more kid cases now. I just want to have
No.
stupid people doing stupid crimes that I can laugh about. I let me read more about P. Diddy raping someone or something like that. But right now, I need something. I need a palate cleanser.
Yeah, can we go back? Well, not Brad. What world are we living in? Thank you so much, Karen, for subscribing. Can we, it's a weird world when Bradley Yon is a palate cleanser.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, but that was only those. Every time he asked the husband about their sexual habits, that was horrible. But the rest of the time, when he said, "Yeah, Your Honor, I know my kin is an idiot, but he is my kin. Can I please let him
That's
in?"
it. We need to watch the opening and closing statements to that just for my sanity.
Yes, someone did plead the fifth for having smacks. That was yeah. Remember the light moments.
Yeah. Yeah, yes, it swings and roundabouts. You get, plead the fifth on Smex and then these just heart-wrenching, soul-destroying, statements. It's all worth it in the end, right?
And the next thing I have on the program is Tuesday, which will be a hearing in the Karen Reed case, maybe. And then Thursday, Thanksgiving next week, I'll do my come hang out with me if you're tired of your family, you don't have a family, or you just
I'll
don't want to
definitely
be
be
with your
popping
family.
in and out of that one because
It'll be the links will be shared where I normally shared, and I think actually this time I'll try and prepare because normally I don't make Christmas. The small little cakes you eat for. I normally don't make them. Maybe I should prepare them because they need to go into the freezer so you can chop them up before you bake them.
oh, are
I'm
they
gonna do
called
some.
petite fours?
No, petit
Or
four.
is that wrong?
Petit four means little oven, and that's a little cake you have like a mouche bouche before you eat.
Or just any time. You can pop them like chiclets. That's how I like to
It's
say.
like a you don't call them biscuits, you call them but it's like we call them small cakes, and
Ooh.
and you have different kinds, and I think maybe everyone's always asking me, so maybe I should make a few batches of and then I can bake them closer to Christmas for another stream. So yeah.
Good idea. I am going to leave now because I've got to fix my makeup before I pick my kids up from their, really good Christian school and they wonder, like, what the hell is this woman? Y'all, I already show up there in wigs. They already think I'm cray-cray. So I am going to leave you now. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Will
I know
there
this was
be
a hard
newsy
day.
news tonight?
There will not. We are dealing with a youngest, most feral who has decided to hide his homework even though he did it. So I'm getting a call from his teacher saying, why isn't he sending his homework in? And I'm like, well, I put it in his folder. I put his folder in his backpack. So I'm sure there's a robbler involved. I'm sure this was not youngest, most feral. This was, a felony of grand theft homework. So I will be on the case like Nancy Drew. Hopefully not like Nancy Grace tonight.
No, but Mo will be back tomorrow morning with
Yes.
morning newsy news, best
Yes.
news on the planet, because she does some sad news and she always ends you with a smile. She has a happy ending guarantee on her show.
I know, and it's legal-ish for now.
The rest
Bye,
of
you
you,
guys.
go out. Remember to spread love, smile to someone. If you have a kid, give them that extra hug. If you have a kid that doesn't live with you, you can hug. Give them a call, and when they say, what do you want now? Say, you're going to miss me when I can't call you anymore, and give them that good old mother guilt that only mothers can give their children. Because,
Yep.
you know what? We actually miss our mothers when they're not here anymore. So,
Yes.
go
Bye, you
out,
guys.
have fun, and thank you all so much for all the support
Yes.
you're giving us during these trials, because without you, we couldn't stand being here either. But we'll see what comes down the pipeline. Jemima is probably already finding a 5-month-old.
Yeah, I've got a
case.
bunch of affidavits from cases that are cray-cray, so I might be starting those. And then I know I did plan on doing a kind of tie-in to legal shenanigans, so I will be going over the Tony Todd trial as well. He's an a-hole, so yay.
He was Candyman, so be good to him. Don't say his name.
Not in the mirror, at least. Nancy Grace, Bloody Mary, and Tony Todd.
On that,
Just don't.
like I said, Mo always have a happy ending guarantee.
What exhibit are you referring to?
I'm going to make this 100, Your Honor.
All right.
100.
100.
Because it is 100% correct.
Objection, Your Honor. So you literally built a cannon?
Thank you so much, Jojo.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
All right, I'm in love.
Go back. Please do that again. Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't have cared.
You wouldn't have cared?
No.
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
No.
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
Probably did. Everybody has.
So there-
Everybody has.